Mauricio Umansky's health began deteriorating rapidly after doctors informed him he had been diagnosed with a serious condition. Uncontrollably, Kyle Richards broke down in tears. The first time she noticed the change in him, she thought she had misread a signal, small hesitations, little things that seemed inconsequential. Mauricio might fumble over his words, misplace his keys twice before lunch, or pause mid-sentence as if the thread of thought had been cut. At first, Kyle laughed it off. The speed of life, the chaos of schedules, social obligations, and business meetings, all seemed trivial, yet now unnervingly significant. Mauricio lost more than just energy. His appetite shrank to mere nibbles. Evenings, once filled with laughter and warmth, turned into deep, heavy sleep. His humor, once effortless and bright, dimmed, replaced by shadows that seemed to lengthen by the day. The doctor's words came wrapped in their unique clinical precision, blunt, direct, yet unexpectedly intimate. Routine tests, meant to catch problems early, revealed something no one anticipated. The word cancer hovered between Kyle and Mauricio, hot and dangerous, demanding careful, thoughtful handling. That week, and the days that swirled around it like a storm, became the central narrative. A meltdown came on a rainy afternoon, fueled by everything: the press's insistent coverage, the stark, clinical lighting of the hospital, and the invisible barriers keeping a private family from being public property. Mauricio's revelation felt sudden. Grief has no respect for timetables. There were disagreements over scripts, the dog's stubborn refusal to obey, and in one moment, the walls of their Beverly Hills home seemed the wrong color for the weight they carried. Aggressive. That was how the doctor described the disease's rapid progression. The hospital was devoid of theatrics, instead operating with the calm, meticulous rhythm of experts delivering devastating news without false hope. Mauricio had a human side television rarely captured. Confident and collected on camera, he met the news with a composure bordering on defiance. Kyle watched silently, fearing for him while recognizing how fragile their ordinary life truly was. At home, the family adapted with an awkward efficiency born of deep love. As schedules for their children, Portia and Alexia, were rearranged, Kyle felt pride mingled with fear over the disruption. Friends were called in to help, while Mauricio carved out brief moments to continue business remotely. The children became small allies. Portia made lists of questions for the doctors. Alexia offered quiet support, each gesture steeped in love and concern. Mauricio was admitted to a standard ward, where everything centered on process and sterility. Doctors discussed treatments, chemotherapy, alternative options, and palliative measures. Nobody could guarantee outcomes. The medications were simultaneously a blueprint for hope and a reminder of uncertainty. Kyle navigated this new world as though she were learning a new language. She memorized nurses' faces, tracked shift changes, and learned to operate lab machines, taking detailed notes on procedures and outcomes. Meanwhile, the media swarmed. Photographers set up outside the hospital doors, commentators parsed every gesture, and social media flooded with speculation. Kyle found herself in two realities at once, one in the waiting room with Mauricio, and another in the endless cycle of news, rumors, and viral images. One picture, Kyle walking out with smudged mascara, head down, was circulated endlessly, triggering speculation and concern. Carefully worded statements thanking fans while requesting privacy tried to control the narrative, but were fleeting against the relentless tide of commentary. By the third night, Mauricio's condition worsened. Monitors that had once been background hums became urgent alarms. His blood pressure dropped, temperature spiked, and nurses moved with rehearsed precision. When he was moved to the ICU, the family felt as if their lifeline had been cut. The ICU was a different world: glass partitions, relentless beeping, and a rhythm that erased time itself. Breathing was monitored through machines. Tubes carried medications into his veins. doctors' voices were precise and surgical. A secondary infection and organ stress were added to the initial diagnosis, creating a cascade of crises even seasoned families could be shocked by. Kyle's world shrank. She moved around Mauricio's bed, immersed in the sterile scent of sanitizer and the glow of screens. The children observed, learning which way to lean, which gestures indicated stability, which meant caution. Kyle answered calls, juggled appointments, and managed lists of friends and medical contacts who might provide advice. In the hallway, a sudden wave of dizziness caused her to collapse briefly, leaving her disoriented and white-faced. A nurse immediately helped her, offering quiet reassurances while messages were sent to the children. Even minor incidents became magnified in this context. The slightest misstep carried enormous emotional weight, each gesture observed, dissected, and sometimes misinterpreted. Kyle experienced a release in allowing herself to falter. Years of keeping a perfectly ordered household had left her tense and vigilant. By the next day, a viral photo of her being helped into an ambulance ignited public debate, ranging from sympathy to accusations of recklessness. Outside the hospital, fans and critics alike demanded answers. The family's private ordeal became public spectacle in an instant. Headlines like Mauricio Umansky's health declines rapidly and Kyle Richards collapses at hospital dominating feeds. Inside the ICU, time was measured in charts, vitals, and scans. Kyle attempted to organize schedules for herself and the staff, becoming the anchor for her family while maintaining a public persona. Her notes, slips of advice and reminders, recipes, and small personal tokens became tiny lifelines inserted into Mauricio's clothes. Doctors moved with urgency and care, using both broad-spectrum and targeted medications to combat infections and stabilize his condition. Private consultations, reviews of scans, and strategic decisions became a constant negotiation, with family, doctors, and friends all trying to balance hope and realism. Visitors arrived in waves. Former co-stars, friends, and colleagues filled rooms with familiar voices and humor, providing moments of levity amid tension. Meals, messages, and small acts of kindness reinforced the family's resilience. Mauricio began brief periods of recognition, a joke eliciting a smile, a monitor displaying improving readings. Each small victory was celebrated quietly, a reminder of normalcy amid chaos. But illness is relentless. Short periods of respite alternated with episodes of rapid breathing, sharp pain, and long hours of uncertainty. The family maintained professional composure, perched on the edge of their chairs, hearts tethered to monitors and medication schedules. Eventually, treatment began to show effects. Mauricio's fever subsided, the alarms quieted, and for the first time in days, a profound silence replaced the constant tension. Kyle's hands trembled slightly, no longer in fear, but from the exhaustion of holding hope for so long. Moving to a step-down unit marked a new chapter. The intense, glass-walled ICU was replaced by rooms with windows and a view of Los Angeles. A subtle yet reassuring permanence entered the space. The rhythm of care replaced the panic of crisis. Kyle could finally catch her breath, observing Mauricio as he rested, gradually regaining strength. Throughout this ordeal, Kyle's dual role as a mother and public figure continued to demand vigilance. She balanced appointments, social media statements, and family support, all while absorbing the lessons of vulnerability, love, and resilience. She documented small stories for the children, reminders, jokes, anecdotes, and advice, sewing continuity into the fractured rhythm of hospital life. Slowly, the narrative of fear gave way to measured optimism. Doctors' rounds brought incremental improvements, monitors indicated steady readings, medications were adjusted carefully. Mauricio's strength returned gradually, the family's collective anxiety giving way to cautious hope. Each day became a careful negotiation of past trauma, present stability, and future uncertainty. Friends continued to visit, offering support, meals, and laughter. The children adapted, quietly resuming routines, their presence anchoring the home in normalcy. Kyle managed schedules, appointments, and communications, emerging as both strategist and caregiver. Small acts of kindness, letters, casseroles, phone calls, maintained the delicate balance of community and privacy, ensuring the family's resilience remained intact. By the end of the week, Mauricio began opening his eyes more frequently, responding to voices and engaging with his family. Devices and monitors displayed favorable trends, signaling incremental victories over illness. Silence now carried substance, a testament to survival and endurance rather than warning or alarm. The family had survived the storm, anchored by love, perseverance, and careful attention to detail. The step-down unit allowed breathing space. The harshness of the IQ's routines, with its relentless alarms and sterile intensity, gave way to sunlight, fresh air, and glimpses of life beyond the hospital. In this subtle yet meaningful environment, Kyle and Mauricio could begin to reconstruct daily life, reintroducing small joys, humor, and the rhythms that make a household functional.